Here we are at Kennedy Space Center. We're going to be here for 2 days. We're going to get to check out everything here, as well as do a special tour of the Launch Control Center. So we'll definitely take you along with us and show you all the highlights of it.
Fun fact, we've both actually been here before. Richard was here 10 years ago?
10 years ago for a space shuttle launch.
And then I was here when I was really little, and I actually had an astronaut walk up to me at the end of a show when I was with my grandparents, grabbed my hand and walked me out, and my grandparents were like, "Where did you go?" So, we've both been here before, but it's a new experience to be here together.
Here we are in the Atlantis building, where you get to see the Space Shuttle Atlantis, and they talk about all sorts of different of its missions. Behind us you see a model of the Hubble Space Telescope, which Atlantis launched. And we're going to turn around. We're not going to talk anything about the presentation before you get to see it. That's going to be a surprise for when you get here. But there you go. There's the Space Shuttle Atlantis behind me. That is not a model. That is the actual Space Shuttle Atlantis. Which, by the way, I was here 10 years ago to watch a space shuttle launch, and it just happened to be Space Shuttle Atlantis. So I'm going to go ahead and correct myself right here. Atlantis was not the one that launched the Hubble originally. It was Discovery, according to this documentation over here. Discovery was the one that originally launched it. Here is a spaceman. And this is a quote from the first way to fly. In the RV, you have to have a lot of tools. Well, you have to have a lot of tools when you go into space too, except they're a little bit different. Here's the business end of the space shuttle with the engines. So one thing that's interesting that a lot of people don't know, and I don't know if it talks about that in the exhibit here, but the main engines on the shuttle, the big engines here at the back, actually were used during the launch. So they only used the solid rocket boosters, the big white things, for about 2 minutes during the launch, and then the rest of the launch was using the engines on the back end of the shuttle to get into space. Then once they got into space, they used the smaller engines, and those were the RCS thrusters that they used to maneuver in space. They also used different thrusters to spin it, as well as eventually deorbit the shuttle. The main benefit of the shuttle is that it could launch and bring cargo up to space, as well as bring cargo back home. It also launched multiple times to build the space station, as well as a few times to repair the Hubble Space Telescope, which was the first time it had ever been done in space, was to launch and actually repair something in space. The space shuttle also had robotic arms that it could grab different items in space, as well as help launch other items, maneuver things around the payload bay. You can see the arm. Just to give you a sense of a scale, the payload bay will fit a school bus. Ashley decided to go down the slide. As I'm walking down here, they have a hallway of all the mission patches. And here was the mission that I was at. And they launched and they put on this part of the International Space Station. So we're still looking around at the space shuttle, and I saw this really cool model of how they put the space shuttle on the 747. We are in line for the shuttle launch experience. I get motion sick, but I think we might try the motion one. We'll
It's going to
see.
be brave and give it a try. So,
Yeah, if I get sick the rest of the day, it's your fault.
never know till you try.
Here we are at the business end of the Saturn V rocket now. Sorry for the short clip. We're about to run up to a tour. but just had to show you that.
Because it's freaking huge and amazing.
Here we are in front of the Saturn V rocket. This is actual flight hardware from the second stage forward. So it would have actually been used for launches. The bottom stage, the big part, was used as the test Saturn V. It's quite large. And this is not expanded at all. This is the actual length that it would have been, like 350 feet long.
Did you just use the word quite?
Quite large.
It's freaking ridiculously, enormously, words that I won't say on camera, huge.
And what we're standing in front of is the van that the astronauts use to go out to the launch pad. And you can look in here in the back. And this actually was a converted RV.
Yeah, with the glare you can't really see it, but there's a seat. And astronaut van, official NASA markings.
That's the lunar module.
For our friends and family that may watch this, you probably won't be surprised that Ashley would do something like this. You may see the normally large display indicators. Yeah, I walked into the men's room. That happened.
Here we are in front of the command module
The Apollo 14.
for the Apollo 14 capsule.
I'm glad you can see inside because Richard wouldn't lift me up.
Here we are in front of the moon rover. This was to actually be used on the moon, but they scrapped some of the moon missions, so that's why it's here.
Those wheels are crazy. Those wheels look like they belong on fan blades, not wheels.
The wheels are mesh. Over here is a tool cart to carry your tools with you. So we just talked to the engineer who basically worked on parts of this. Junior engineer on parts of this behind us, which is called the IU, the instrument unit. And it's where basically the brain for the computer for the whole Saturn V rocket was. And he told us that the capacity for storage on there for all the software was in the kilobytes. The video that you're watching now is in the hundreds of megabytes, which it's 1,000 kilobytes to a megabyte. So the camera that we're recording this on was more powerful than the computer, is a lot more powerful than the computer that launched the rocket to the moon. Here we are on the Launch Control Center tour, and I'm standing in front of the vehicle assembly building.
The blue stars are as big as an NBA basketball court, and their stars are 6 feet apart. The blue field of stars, excuse me.
sorry there's no audio for the last part of that video. We were on a guided tour, and it was just a little awkward to talk to the camera at that point. But where the tour we were on was of the Launch Control Center, which is where they launched multiple missions there at the Kennedy Space Center. There were actually 4 firing rooms where they launched. We were only able to tour 1. The others were having upgrades done for the next NASA missions. We hope you enjoyed our time at Kennedy Space Center, and make sure to subscribe.